seconds. And we are live.
Good morning. Welcome to Natasha Makes. Facebook isn't working today. It is misbehaving.
I'm on the wrong side.
You're on the wrong side. You're all right, Jane. You can zip under and go across. Or I'll put the overhead on in a minute. We'll look at these half-meter heavens. You got your mic on. We're all good.
I have now.
We're all good. We've had a bit of a what's it today. Facebook does not want to play. We don't know why. Keeps doing this, isn't it? Having a little bit of a tantrum.
There seemed to be something going on though, didn't they? They were saying on the news about...
Were they saying on the news today as well? Were they saying
about
Makes will not be live on Facebook?
Yes, advertised Netflix and Ring and all sorts of things like that. I had a bit of a...
There's something going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
There is something going on. But anyway, we are here on YouTube. We are here on the Facebook, on our website, not Facebook. And we will load this up to Facebook later via various links for you. So you will get it at some point. It just means that if Facebook is your usual medium by which you watch us, you just got to find another way this morning, which I'm sure you all will be. So good morning. And so we will say good morning this morning. Oh, where's my voice gone, Jane?
Crazy.
To all of our YouTubers. I don't know how to get messages or anything. I've got to sign in to chat.
Oh.
I don't know about that. I don't know how to sign in. Don't know if I've even got a YouTube account. Don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Did you count that for Gemma?
Yes.
Fabulous. Okay, so should we have a little look then? Seems very strange not saying hello to everybody, doesn't it?
It is weird.
Very strange.
When you haven't got the messages up, you don't know who's watching, do you?
No, it's all a mystery.
Yeah.
Could be everybody, could be nobody. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
It's
But
quite
Jane's
exciting.
here. Do you want to see what we're doing today? We're doing this. This is a Lisa Chandler design. It is rather fabulous. So if you have a little bit of EPP in your life, this is the one, isn't it, Jane?
It's a lovely project, actually.
It's just stunning.
Yeah. I machine quilted the large hexagon, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And then a lovely bit of EPP and fussy cutting for the little flowers. Lovely.
So this is out of the tile print, and it might be that you've already got a matching cushion because we had that offer on a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
So there's lots of ways that you can work this into your life for sure. And also, if you've been doing Lisa's Oriental Baltimore quilt, I do have the words today. There. If you've been doing the Oriental Baltimore quilt, then you will have already learned how to do a lot of the applique that's on there.
Yes.
Which is perfect.
Lovely.
Now, half meter heavens for tomorrow. These will go live at midnight. Some are live already. We had like a handful here and there of odds and bods. So we've brought those out to play again. So let's have a little look. Now, this was a spot of luck, wasn't it? Because we were having a look around going, what goes with this?
Are you overhead now?
Yes.
Right.
What goes with this? This goes with this. And this is the Moda Grunge.
The stripe,
I think it's
the teal
papaya.
stripe.
But
I think
just
there's
look
8
at that.
metres on there.
Isn't that wonderful? So we have got, well, as many of this as we had left,
It's a full bulk,
really. And then that is it for that particular one. So we are loving that. And we thought that we'd go heavy on the case because, of course, it was his birthday yesterday. She says, bringing out a Riley Blake design. But you'll see, we are heavy on Cave this week.
There were some lovely photographs on Facebook of him as in his younger days.
I know.
Very handsome.
He was very handsome. You can see why he modelled, can't you? You know, you really can.
Absolutely.
Very handsome man. So this is Blush, and this, quite frankly, is gorgeous. This was the Riley Blake that we had on the other day. Just
love it.
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I've got lots in mind for this. It's just such a soft, gorgeous pink. We love it. Now, this is Dorothy in natural, and we've popped her with a little bit of orange there. And was that hot tomato? Can't remember now. Oh, it is with orange.
Yeah.
Do you know this? Actually, I've got Dorothy in red on today.
Have you? Is that what your smart's
Yeah, that's what my scarf's made out of.
Lovely.
Do you know why it's called Dorothy?
Nope.
Oh, well, Philip was messaging me during my craft shows,
Yes.
because this was on the craft store, and he said that it's named Dorothy after his mother.
Oh.
She was Dorothy. She was a nurse, And during the war, she used to sweep the incendiary devices off the top of Charing Cross Hospital.
Oh my gosh.
What a woman.
Yes.
We really have nothing to complain about.
No,
do
we don't really.
Oh dear, Facebook didn't work, but I haven't been sweeping bombs off the top of any building this morning.
Yeah.
What a woman. What
Don't
a
make
woman.
them like that anymore.
No. Well, they possibly do. We just hopefully don't have to ever find out whether we do or not.
Well, that's a bit stunning.
Koi Polloi.
I love the koi polloi.
This is Brandon's creation, Koi Polloi. Koi Polloi in green, but I just had to pick out the purple. It's so much fun.
It is. Absolutely love it. I love that collection.
I used all the Koi Pollois in my mega on the up quilt that I did
Yes.
the other day. And they just look fab. They just look fab. Because they're not too girly, you know. Oh, I mean, I have girlied up the whole...
That's another lovely one that's
tickle my
versatile.
fancy.
Yeah.
And I've put that with bright pink. Love that.
You can rely on Brandon for a quirky name, can't you? Tickle
Of
my
course you can.
fancy.
And print as well.
Yeah,
Not just the
absolutely.
name,
I love
all
his
of it.
designs.
We do love Brandon. I think that he just designs from his heart. And that's
Yes.
what I really, really love about him. Oh, do you know what else I really love? You know the Tawny?
Yes.
This is one of my favourite designs. Did you see there was a spare almost half metre put to one side to
Yes,
make
I
another
did see that.
smarf? I just
Funnily
love
enough.
this colourway.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it really is. So, the azalea pink.
Perfect.
Oh, loving that. Just loving that. It's exactly that tone in there.
Yeah. Really lifts the pinks in there as well.
Jane, it makes me happy.
It's a happy fabric, and we love happy fabric.
We do. Oh, now here we go. Dorothy again. This time, she's with...
That's the one you use for your lamp, isn't it?
It
It's
is
rather
the one that I
swish.
use for my lamp. I've used it for quite a few things, actually. What
It's
else did I
very-
use it for? Cushions. I've made cushions out of
Yes,
this.
because it goes with your velvet sofa
My
beautifully.
sofa certainly does. Certainly does. And with sapphire, I think rather stunning.
Beautiful.
Because of the yellow. Oh.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. So Cave spent his birthday yesterday because at the weekend it was Cave's Christmas. They always do. So Philip and Brandon and Cave meet up once a year for a few hours and they call it Cave's Christmas in
Yes.
December. And so they met up over the weekend and that's when Cave chooses all of Philip's designs for the next year that he then
Lovely.
works on. So he now spent yesterday on his birthday starting to do the colourways for Philip's designs for the next collection.
Oh, how exciting.
What a way to spend your day. Now, this was a funny one because I looked at matching the greys
Yes.
and then I looked at matching the blue and then I kind of went midway between the two. That's slate and I love it.
It works really well, doesn't
Doesn't
it?
it?
Because it lifts that lovely soft grey blue that's in that flower.
And if you have a rummage through the half metre heavens, you might find, a few left with azalea pink.
Which
think
looks
we
rather
had,
nice
like-
with the slate.
I mean, yeah. If you were doing an array of cushions or anything like that,
Yeah,
this
that'd
is
look
where you want to be
beautiful.
going with either your backing or your piping or whatever. In those two, it's just going to give those cushions some definite... Well, do you know what? It doesn't matter what you're making, does it? Make what you want.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be beautiful. In my humble opinion. Rowflower.
I love row flower, it's really pretty.
Oh, rowflower with spearmint. Jane, I've got 6 left and that was the end of the bolt.
Oh,
End of it.
but
And
it's
this
perfect.
spearmint just
Spearmint is
picks
just
out
right.
everything. It's perfect. Right, vine and black again. I've got 6 of these and then that's the end of the bolt. With
That's
lavender.
been a popular that vine, hasn't it? Because it's a
been
nice,
super popular, yeah.
it's a nice overall pattern that you can pick out different elements to make different ideas.
And if you are someone that is just learning colour, it's safe.
Yes, yeah, nice.
It's
Neutrally.
really safe.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not a fan of too much of this or too much of that, because everybody's different and that's okay. I have to learn that's okay. Not
Well,
everyone
it'd be a
wants as
boring-
much colour as
well,
me.
it'd be very boring if we all like the same thing. Do you not think?
Yes, Plus, there'd be less for me. Let's be really selfish about it.
Yeah.
Hocker size mums.
I love that, and I love that colourway.
Now, we have also got, I think, like 2 left when we did it with the grey.
Yeah. Which
So
would look
again,
lovely with that.
Yeah, with the
Jade.
jade. Just beautiful. This sold out on the craft store like that.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a lovely colourway.
Isn't it? Just that softness. And again, I'd smarf that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be all over that for a smarf. Actually, my mum would look lovely in a smarf, that colour. Wouldn't you, Gillian? Yes. This is Van Gogh. Now. We went through, Jane, it would be fair to say. We're live on Facebook. Oh, morning, SJ. We went through all the pinks.
We did.
All the purples and all the blues. And
even
the
a
greens.
touch of green, yeah.
And we even tried tan and went, no.
None of it were doing it, was it, this morning?
None of it. Absolutely none of it. We would not, no. But, so what happened was, we had to rummage deeper into the stash.
We did.
We did.
And we
it's
found
true.
some lovely spray times, and that raspberry pink is just perfect.
Perfect. Perfect. Oh, Claire's found us. Grace has found us. Leanne's found us. Yeah, we are on Facebook. We're here just a bit late. Morning, Mary. There we go. Everybody's finding us now. That's fabulous. We'll be able to chat, Jane, as we sew.
Yes,
Grab
that's
yourself a
always
cuppa.
nice.
We've got our cuppers. It's like a coffee morning, isn't it, really? Oh, another Van Gogh. Oh, Jane.
I love that. I love that zingy green on there. It's so mouth-watering, I think is the word.
In our hallway, in our vestibule
Yes.
here at Natasha Meeks, I might have decadently indulged in
Surely not, Natasha.
no, I know. Bear with me. In a kind of chest, sort of, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sideboard
Bureau.
chest
Bureau.
thing,
Yes. No, it's not a bureau, is it? 'Cause it doesn't have a...
which I might have had repainted and redesigned with sunflowers.
It looks stunning.
Yeah, it was meant to go in the kids' playroom, but it never quite made it there.
No.
It got delivered here and then stayed.
It does look rather
It
nice.
does look rather nice.
It was,
I
and it
know.
just fits exactly in the space.
Perfect, right? And so, yeah, we've got cushions out of the Van Gogh on that because
Yes.
it's all painted up, and even the handles are sunflowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been moulded to be. It's ridiculously indulgent. I really don't care. Right, so this anyway was lovely there, and when our supplier brought out this blue,
We were very pleased.
we were very pleased because look, it just fills the gaps. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. Is it marine blue?
Yes.
I don't know why I want to call it something else. I'll call it something else. What am I doing? Right. We have got a squidgy handful of these already loaded left over.
Nice.
The thing is, when we add on the next week, you see, they disappear from view. And if people don't rummage,
Yes.
you're not going to find it. But just look how stunning that is. It looks like it's done in oil. The depth of the colour there is just
It's really
superb.
vibrant, and it's almost gives it a 3D effect.
Yeah, that's with hot tomato, and that is already live on the website. As is this, Jane.
I couldn't find the label for that. I mean, I know what it is, but
It's coleus with
it's
sky blue.
Yeah.
And again, that's already up there.
And again, that's a lovely, soft, gentle colour variation, isn't it?
I want,
Rather
hang on a
nice.
second. I mean,
It's not a million miles away, is it?
wouldn't be that wrong, would it?
No. Nice.
This was the one that went with Priscilla.
Nice.
The emu.
Yeah.
Was it emu? No. What was she? Priscilla the emu. Was it emu?
Yes.
Kath Hardcross
Yes.
design. Yeah. Now this one I adore, and we picked out the pink actually in this one, but you could equally go with the orange. I mean, if you happen to be treating yourself,
Rather
mean-
nice. I love pink and orange together.
I mean, yeah, those together look fabulous, don't they?
Mm.
So it was always a top as to what to use. But I quite like that with there, yeah. Because there isn't pink in there. I kind of like the fact that you can put it in. So well, look, these are all on there.
What does
this is
Kate
another
say?
one.
Orange is the new pink? Or?
No, it was, we were getting ready to do an interview together. And again, this one's already loaded, guys. You can grab that already. And I had a pink top on and orange shoes. I was like, oh, I'm not sure if that goes. And he went, darling, orange is pink. I went, okay, that'll do then. I'll take that. Ooh, yes. Just yes.
Oh,
yes,
just
yes,
nice.
yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, orange and pink. Well, orange is pink. Japanese chrysanthemums all over the shop. Lovely. Now, here we go.
I think this geodes is one of my most favourite.
It's just divine, isn't it?
Yeah,
to quote
I just
Mr.
love
John
it.
Cole Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Handful left. That's it. I mean, it was a matter of, have we actually still got, we started off with 10 of those, but there's only like 1 or 2 left. And then this one, Cloisonne, and we put it with pink again.
That's lovely. That Cloisonne is so dual colours and exquisite.
I have cushions in this as well. I'm not gonna deny. And I put I might have put purple velvet around the edge of mine. La 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 la. It all works.
Yes,
it all
does.
works. Oh, do you know what else works? I found a bolt of this.
We love the octopuses.
I'm going to. So I don't think Freddie and Emily are watching. I think they're busy this morning with their dad. But they're going to. My mum's going to buy them swimming lessons for Christmas because they've got everything in the world they need.
Yes.
So swimming lessons are going to be the way. So I'm going to make sure that they've got. Freddie's
Swim
already
bags.
got
Yeah.
a swimming bag out of this, and I might do Emily one with the purple, so they've got
Yes.
same but different.
Nice.
And that purple is in here. It's
and I love orange and purple together as well. I think they look nice.
just does it.
Opposite sides of the colour wheel. That's why.
Yay! It all works. It all works. And then this one. This is the banana leaves. And do you remember we found it with a batik? It's a 1/2 metre 10 plus, but it just all works.
Yes, that batik is perfect.
I made a great big beach bag out of this.
Yes.
And during one of the interviews, Kay saw it in the back of the set and he went, well, that's exactly how I envisaged it.
That's
So
lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, you have that moment where you go,
Yay! Like an endorsement.
I know. It's sad, isn't it, really? But it was just a bit of a buzz. Yeah.
Rather nice.
Good. For those of you that missed yesterday, we had more Lisa Chandler goodies yesterday. And look, they've got their little lights in. Oh, they're not. I haven't put the lights on.
Well, they wouldn't come on.
Woo!
I think the batteries had run down.
Did I leave them on all night?
Quite
Might have done.
possibly.
Do you know what I can do about that, Jane?
Have you got more?
Yeah. Always. Possibly not on.
One is, one's not.
They're a bit hit and miss, these ones, if I'm honest. Oh no, look, this is a new one. Look, you've got to take a little bit out.
Oh, that's good.
Ah,
I
there
just
we
think
are.
they're so pretty.
They are absolutely stunning. They were very popular yesterday. We have got still a few on the website, bundles with the glasses.
Yeah, the glass and the steamer seam and the
the glass, the steamer seam and the pattern.
That's it. I couldn't remember what the other thing was. I knew there were 3 things and I can't remember it.
Glass, steamer seam and pattern. The glasses are a very specific size, and that was what I searched high and low for. Honestly, it took me a good hour and a half to find the right ones.
It was so funny yesterday trying to photograph that.
I know, I showed them. It's like a Weeble, it wobbles, but it doesn't
won't
fall down.
over.
No, look. Jane was like, I wanted to put it on its side, but it won't.
It won't go on its
It
side.
won't do it. This is the perfect glass for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't knock it. Well, I suppose you can knock it over, but it would flip itself back up again pretty quick.
It would right itself. But how beautiful do they look? Just gorgeous. I love it in the new Lisa Chandler as well.
I love that new Lisa Chandler.
And they feel really sturdy.
Mm.
I thought we'd have to be really careful that, maybe because of how it's folded, it might come away or no.
Yeah.
Lovely and sturdy.
They're just going to look lovely on your table, aren't
course
they?
they are.
At Christmas or at any time of the year, really.
I think bedside table as well.
I can see them in the summer on the
Yeah.
outside in the garden when you're having barbecues and stuff.
Oh, nice. You could,
Yeah, put
on
them
the
on the
table.
Little, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, because you could actually put like a mosquito-y
Yes, like
candle
a
in there, couldn't you?
citronella candle, yeah.
That's the one.
Nice.
Jane, you're going to come and do your thing. I'm going to
Yeah.
put some glasses on so I can read messages from those people who have found us on the book Oh Faces. See, Nigel's watching. Morning. And Lowe's. Try it with gin in. Yeah, you see?
Still won't tip
Lowe's
over.
here. Lowe's here. There we go. Talking of tipping,
You managed.
I don't think that
Not
my
enough
mug
hands.
is quite the same. Ha
I've had great fun because we've got 2 colourways of the kit this morning. Good morning.
Hi, Jane.
And I love the richness of the ivory and orange. It's beautiful and it's really got a nice autumnal warm tone to it. But I used the grey, and again this with the silver.
Wow.
In that we've got 2 kits. So in your kit you will get a metre of the tile fabric.
Nice.
And this fabric is just exquisite. I mean, I fussy cut it on that part there because that's what Lisa had done in the pattern, but you could equally fussy cut it on this part here and get a completely different look, or even mix the two. You know, you've got a good size piece of fabric there to have a good play with. And then we've gone with ivory for the neutral colour in the centre. Excuse me. Now, I've got a confession to make, and I'm going to show you on, because I've done a couple of the little grandmother flowers. I chose the dusty pink
Right.
gum flower, purely because the flowering gum rather,
Flowering gum, yeah.
is used in the orange
Right.
version.
And then what happened, Jane?
Well, I then realised when I was putting it together that it's got the gold metallic on,
Yes.
and it doesn't work.
No.
Although the pink is perfect,
Yes.
the gold metallic and the silver metallic just clash slightly.
I'm gonna have a word with Lisa about it.
Lisa, please can we have one with some silver metallics on? Because the
We'll have a word.
colours, obviously, it's, you know, works well. So Gemma and I had a little fircle in the boutiques and all the other planes. A little fircle. And we came across this absolutely gorgeous Lewis and Irene Bumblesberries. And how beautiful
Oh, that works.
does
doesn't it?
that look?
Do you know that the bumbleberries have 7 different shades in?
They're
Which
amazing.
is why it makes it the
Yeah.
perfect
Can we
blender.
go overhead on that?
Yeah,
and
we
can
can.
see
Of
it.
course we can. It helps.
Can you
I was
see
looking
how
at
that
one.
picks,
Just didn't switch it across.
it picks up all those beautiful pinks? So actually, when it's used in the middle of the grandmother's garden unit,
Beautiful.
it really picks out the pinks and looks lovely. So that one is aimed for the centre of your grandmother garden flowers and the binding.
Beautiful.
So you've got a half metre of that.
Lovely.
And then there's a fat eighth of duck egg, which picks out this lovely tealy colour. And then a fat eighth of blush, which is aimed at using for your 3D flowers. Now you'll see in the other kit, when we go through the kit, I took paprika to do my 3D flowers with. And then somewhere between here and getting home, it went poof, disappeared.
Oh,
So I've actually used the flowering gum,
okay. Well, it works.
and it works, and there's enough. There's plenty in the half metre, so it's a decision you make for yourself then. So
this is
that's the
fabulous.
kit in the teal. We called it teal, I think. And then we've got the beautiful one that I've made. Well, they're both beautiful.
Do you have a favourite?
Well, I'm more of a aqua-tealy person, aren't I? I'm a sea colours person, so I think I'm more drawn to the silver. But this. Since I've been working with fabric, I've got more, because if you'd have asked me before I had my shop, I'd have said, I don't like orange.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And then
yeah.
I started getting orange in, and I love orange, how it works with other colours. I love orange and grey. As I said before, I love orange and pink, and I love it with purple as well. So we've gone cream for the background fabric on this one. Then you've got your flowering gum in orange, fat eighth of sage and a fat eighth of paprika.
Perfect.
So that's your kit for the one that's behind me. So let's talk a little bit about the pattern, because obviously you're going to need the pattern because it's got all the templates and everything in it, which do come in handy when you're making the product. So the pattern comes with, now I'm going to open the one that's on display because it comes with your paper templates. Not all the templates you need, but a good, was 24 I think, pre-cut paper templates.
Amazing.
So you've got your template for the large hexagon. If we go overhead on that.
Yes.
You've got your template there for your large hexagon, which makes the background. You've got your template for your 3D flower, and then inside the pack there's 24 papers.
Lovely.
Which are not papers, they're nice, well they're stiff, thin card, stiff paper, whichever way you want to do it, but perfect for your English paper piecing. Fabulous. And I reused mine. I made the quilt behind us, the table topper behind us, and my demo for today.
And they're still going strong.
And they were still going strong. I had a few mishaps. You can see there's one there that got torn and one that lost its edge. But I was able to use them again and again.
You use the Soline glue pen, isn't it?
Yes, I mean if I tacked them, they'd be usable again and again.
Yeah. Donna says good morning. Natasha and Jane. Sean says good morning. Sarah Snaggy Fairbank Williams is watching as well. And Lisa. Claire's finished her pigs. Grace says good morning.
Those
Pam
pigs are amazing, Claire. I just have to say.
Your mum says hello as well.
Morning, Mum.
Morning, Rona. Morning, Gabriella. Oh yeah, Sean says well done, Josh. Bev's here. Gemma's here. Yeah, Sarah says all beautiful fabrics as always. We try. Emma's a bit impressed with the fabrics as well. And Heather's making reusable Christmas bags whilst watching. Wonderful.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Nice. We love a reusable Christmas bag. So I would recommend that you get yourself some template plastic.
Right.
Make yourself a template for the large hexagon. So place your template sheet over the top and trace it over. You'll find on your template sheet there's one side that's slightly rough and one that's smooth. Trace onto the slightly rough side. Your pencil will stay and not wipe off if you do that. And also the slightly rough side gives a little bit of a grip on the fabric when you're putting it on your fabric.
Sure.
So you can see this was, once upon a time, this was a metre of fabric.
Ah.
Now it's a lacy doily.
Oh, lovely.
But you can see, you can get all of your large hexagons and you've still got a fair amount to have a go at for getting your little hexagons out of.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
I also traced one of the templates, one of the paper templates onto my template plastic so that for fussy cutting purposes I could see through it.
Oh, perfect.
And get them all on the same,
of course,
on the same part that I wanted. So you can see on my large template I've divided it up into sections just by going from point to point and then through into quarters, purely because I wanted to be sure that every time I was in exactly the same place for marking my template out. So for the large ones, just move these forward, I placed my quarter mark. If you can see on this bit here, there's like a quarter mark through there already. So I lined that up there and then lined it up with the point on the, now then, what are these flowers called?
They
begins with a W, doesn't it?
Waratah.
Waratah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I always want to call it wasabi.
No,
why.
that's lunch.
That's a
lunch.
different thing altogether.
Yeah. So this is from the Melba collection. So this fabric was Lisa's creation as to what would happen if William Morris and Dame Nellie Melba had a night together.
Yeah.
What fabric
Would
would
they
be the love
produce?
child?
Yeah.
And this is it. This
And
is
it's
it.
perfect.
Elizabeth's saying this is the one that she wants as the wallpaper
Yes.
for her. You know, well, I don't know where, everywhere.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes,
why
it
wouldn't
would
you?
make beautiful wallpaper.
Wouldn't it?
So, drawing around your template, I'm using the Soline marker. And I'm using the pencil side of the Soline marker purely
It's
because it's a
handy.
nice fine line. Works well on the fabric, doesn't tend to drag it. I chose not to use a fade away or a wash away purely because I knew I was going to be doing it quickly and needed to iron things. And when you iron your wash away and your fade away, they become permanent and can leave a mark on the front of your fabric. But if you're going to take your time and you know, do it over a week or two or longer, you'd be perfectly fine with those, and you'd be able to wash your mark away for the wash away.
Oh, okay, well this is excellent.
So-
I'm just wondering, you know, we've got the we've got the Creative Grids Hexie template. I wonder if you'd be able to
Yeah, it's
just if anyone's got that, and
yeah.
you know,
it's just under 4. It's about 3 3/4 on the straight
oh,
side.
no, that's not going to do it then. Oh crikey!
Excuse you. So once I'd marked it, I need my seam allowance. So I used the 1/4 inch mark on the Creative Grids. This is the beauty of the Creative Grids, is the 1/4 inch mark is already there, frosted out for you. So it's quite easy to see. So I lined that 1/4 inch mark up with my marked line and cut around, just make sure I've got my, cut around my shape.
Perfect.
So it was really easy and quick to cut these out once I'd made my template, and you get a nice accurate 1/4 inch seam, which as we're going to machine sew these, it really helps putting them together.
Okay. There's a lot of love for your shirt this morning, Jane.
Oh, my Christmassy, my
Yeah.
reindeers.
And Margaret Smith says, I love that Jane Alcock used the flowering gum to make the gum flowers. I mean,
Yes.
the irony is not lost on
No,
us. No. And Emma says those bumbleberries are gorgeous. Yes,
they are
they
beautiful. We've got some
Yes,
gorgeous
they
colours.
are.
So just lining up that 1/4 inch each time
Mm-hmm.
and going round so that we've got a nice accurate 1/4 inch seam. And you do the same with your template on your cream or your ivory fabric.
Perfect.
But keep this safe because you're going to use all of this for your grandmother garden flowers that make the applique.
Is it fair to say cut the big hexies out first?
Yes, cut those out first, and then you know what you've got left over for doing your grandmother's garden, and then you've got a better idea. So you're going to need one in the middle, and then the cream goes all the way outside, on the outside. Now you've got 2 lines either side, and if you line these up, they should match perfectly. And you can simply sew from point to point. Don't sew right across, sew along your drawn line.
Okay.
So right sides together.
Jane, it is making a funny noise. I can't get away from the fact
Got a
it's
little bit of a whistle, hasn't it?
Yeah. I wonder if it needs a little bit of oil. Turned
Might
out
do.
that our fabric scissors did this morning.
Yes, that really helped, didn't it? When we were
Really
trying to
helped,
cut the
yeah.
fabric. So when you place the next one on, if you just fold that back and press it, I pressed it towards the cream, and then place your next one on. Excuse me. Your 1/4 inch seam should come, just sit on top of there, and then you sew the next one on. Just take your time. You could do a little stay stitch if you wanted to. I didn't bother because I'm going to be sewing up the side seams as well. So you sort of catch it in as you go.
Now, you see, Margaret's just said, oh, is the required large hexagon a size that can be made with Creative Grids hexagon template? It's not the exact same size, but it's only a squidge off if you use the 4-inch. So that's what I would say. If you wanted to use that rather than, it just means that yours will be ever so slightly bigger.
Yeah. So I sewed all of these. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it as I did it. So I sewed all of these on around that centre hexagon first. So lining it up, making sure that the seam here lined up there, and then sewing from there. And I started at the seam side each time after I'd done the first one, so that I knew that my needle would be in against, right up against the seam. And you're just sewing on the line, you don't go past like you would do when you're piecing. So you stop on the
line, right?
On the line, so you're not sewing into your seam allowance, in other words. You would probably use a more neutral thread than the one I'm using, because I've got a quite dark grey, but I wanted you to be able to see the sewn line each time, and it doesn't show through, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right on the grey, isn't it?
Yeah. It might be different when we come to join the...
We'll see.
We'll see. It'll be what it will be for now. I didn't switch the iron on.
Oh yeah, that's going to help, isn't it?
Yeah, it really will.
Because although you're finger pressing, you will go in, won't you? And do...
Yeah, I will go in afterwards.
So you just go all the way around the grey, all the way around,
and just making sure that they line up. The seam lines line up with the seam each time and fit into there. So the final one, you're just literally sewing from.
Is this officially a Y seam going to be?
No, there's no Y seams in it because I didn't need to. There's enough space not to pivot, if that makes sense.
Right, okay.
I tried it by pivoting and I didn't feel that it gave a nice crisp point, so I decided it was actually easier to just do it one side at a time.
I'm with you.
So you've got basically like that going on. So then you take your 2 cream pieces and you line those up, the edge up, edge to edge, just making sure you push the point of the hexagon just out of the way. So again, you're lining it up and you're going to sew from that point down towards the hexagon, the middle hexagon. So always sort of sewing towards the seam.
Why are we always sewing towards the seam?
I don't know. It seemed, I tried it the other way and it didn't seem to lie as well. And
Did
I don't know.
Distort it a bit.
Yeah, and I really don't know why, but it seemed to be better to go upwards.
And Pat says Jane's work is so neat and perfect, isn't it? But you see, this is it, and it's then following those tips that she gives us that helps us to get there as well.
So this time, I pressed my seams open, and Lisa is the one that suggests that you do that, and it does work better. So I pressed it open and pushed those seams up and under, if that makes sense.
Right.
You can see what I've done there. It will, because once you've got that centre hexagon lying flat.
And is that the key?
Yeah, I think so. I felt it worked better that way. It seemed to lie flatter for me that way. And it was only these seams that I pressed open. These ones were fine pressed.
Oh, hang on. Let me see
Press
if I
flat.
can see them because they're just on the edge of the...
Oh yeah, you couldn't see that. So those ones I pressed open, but these ones I still kept lying flat, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Cross over. So it just takes a little while, and because you've done this 1/4 inch with your ruler, it's quite accurate against the drawn line. So you've got a consistent seam each time.
Perfect. So if you did want to use your Creative Grid hexi trimmer, then yeah, I'd probably cut it at the...
And how big does the Creative Grid's hexi trimmer?
Do you know what? Gemma did offer to bring it in, and I am going to ask her to actually do that so that we can just compare, because I know that a lot of you've got it, and you know that's the thing, isn't it? A lot of people just feel a bit better with.
Well, you know, if
you've
you've
got
got the
it,
tool to
why
help
not?
you, then use it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It does look lovely. I mean, it's a show-stopping piece. It really is.
Yeah, I'm going to say, when you've got this in the centre of your table, I think you're going to get quite a few compliments for it.
And, you know, that's something that can stay out all year.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the orangey one could be classed as a little bit festive, but
Could be, but not necessarily.
but I don't think so. It would look beautiful all year round.
Yeah.
And of course, we have got the ivory, haven't we, of the tile? The one that's like the reverse of the silver,
Oh, yes.
which could look quite nice with an opposite. You know, if you had grey in the, or even a pale pink where the cream is,
Yeah.
it could be quite interesting.
Nice. It just all stands out so beautifully. We like it. We like it a lot. Morning, Madam. Morning, Moira. I think everyone's watching intently, Jane. There's no shenanigans on Facebook.
No shenanigans going on.
No, Jane will not allow it. quite frankly.
Oh, got one more to do. And this is because you've sewn just on the line, it means you've got that little gap of seam that helps you manoeuvre the seams together.
Mm-hmm.
So as I said, I just pressed these open because they felt like they laid flatter. Is that a word?
Right.
Laid flatter.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that
They
grammatical?
lay flat.
Laid flatter. Laid flatter.
They were flatter.
Yes. It just worked better.
Yes, just do it this way.
And then, as I say, just manoeuvre those little points up like that, and then they'll lie flat with the hexagon over the top.
Fiona says, I'm not going to Google anything naughty tonight. Oh, did you have fun last night then, Fiona, Googling naughty things?
Naughty words.
Yeah. Are we blaming, was that low?
That was low, I think. Well, I think she started something and then other people joined in, didn't they?
Oh, was that a challenge? Low?
No.
Yeah. No.
No. Press those up, press that down.
Morning, Vanessa. Oh, Emma says no shenanigans because we're too engrossed.
Oh,
Ah, there you
that's
go.
good.
I clearly need to
Haven't
up the
sent-
ante with my
Haven't sent
shows
them
then.
to sleep then.
Yeah. Oh, Jackie says, just want to thank your Brill team for managing to delay my cave order. So grateful. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
We did try. We did try.
Well, we asked to delay it. Was it a deliberate?
Yeah, apparently so. Elizabeth says, it's not me. I'm a good girl. Yes, Elizabeth.
Yes,
you just
of
keep
course
telling
you
yourself
are.
that.
course
You
you
just
are,
keep
Elizabeth.
telling yourself that. Absolutely.
So you can see there how neatly that has,
Oh,
you know, you've kept your hexagon. It's nicely lying nice and flat, and then you're going to bring your other hexagons in. And again, although you've got a seam there that goes like that, I recommend that you just do it one section at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
Just sew down this one, stop at the seam, and then
off we go again.
Go again. You could pivot it, but I think sometimes it can add to the bulk under the machine, and so you lose the accuracy.
Yeah.
And because really you don't want to lose the points of the hexagons, you see, you can just turn that and then line it up again under your machine. Well, you know, you don't have to take it out of your machine and take it away. You can just do it while you... But I recommend that you cut the thread.
Jane, Sue was on a train yesterday, looking out of the window, saw a pipe and flange company. Was a complete mess laughing and explained what I'd seen. I was sat opposite John Barnes, who was earwigging. Even he was sniggering. You see how a flange gets about, doesn't it?
Gets about. We do love a flange. We do love a flange. So do that one. And again, it seems to like it better if it's pressed towards the cream, which I know goes against what we
against
sort
the
of
grain
like
or the cream
dark
or
side, but it does like that. And so then I'll take the next one, and we've just got one seam here. So we'll just sew that onto there, and then we'll come down there.
Okay. Tracy's just joined us. She says, "Good morning, looks fabulous." It really does. We've got two different colourways. We've got the orange that's on the wall. We've got the grey that Jane's working with. We've got the pattern separate, but it's Lisa Chandler. And do you know what? She really knows her stuff. She knows her onions, doesn't she?
Makes it's a lovely pattern to follow. It's easy to follow. It's nice and precise. Now, it's very tempting when you've got it under the machine to think, oh, right, I'm going to sew down there. Don't do that because it won't lie flat. You put your next one onto there. Because that one then goes two seams.
Got it. Yeah.
I recommend that you lay all out your hexagons first before you start sewing, and then you've got them on your table and you just pick them up, sew the seam, and then put them down again. It does help.
I think that with quilting, half the thing is organisation.
I think it is, and I think it's just working in a nice, methodical, steady. We're all guilty of it, you know, doing everything lastminute.com and wanting to get things finished quickly because it's exciting and you want to see how it's going to come out. But I think sometimes you just have to, and that's half the fun of it as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
just taking your time and enjoying the process.
Now Lo says she's sticking 100 chocolate sixpences onto little cards to give out while I'm away over Christmas. A lucky sixpence, a gift for you to bring you luck in all you do.
Lovely.
She says she's been lazy. She normally crochets hearts. That's a lot of hearts, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hearts.
You'd be like Claire and have wrist ache.
Well, I think she's finished her pigs now. Oh, Elizabeth says, was it the burrito cushion that started the flange thing? You were laughing with Yanis on the craft store. No. So actually, in all honesty, Elizabeth, the flange things goes back to about 6 years ago, actually. With Stuart, well, my first flange incident that went viral was actually with Stuart Hillard on Crate Craft. I'd not long, yeah. And that was the first flanged incident where I accused him of having a wobbly flange.
Yes.
Which didn't go down so well, and you can imagine, can't you?
Yeah.
And it's just sort of gone from there. And then when I started at the craft store, I had a William Morris. I did a William Morris cushion, and flanged that.
Yeah.
And I'd only been there. I think it was like my second or third show there, and Rachel was presenting the show with me, and she couldn't. Firstly, she thought I was joking.
Yeah.
And that we were all going to get sacked. So then when I kept saying it, she couldn't say it properly. The flange. She just couldn't bring herself to say it properly. And I don't know how many times it got said in that hour.
Yes.
And then she made like a collage that went all over YouTube and Facebook and goodness knows where. because it was just so it's just haunted me.
It's funny, isn't it? It's a word, and it's a word that I've used quite a lot because I've quite often inserted a flange into borders to accentuate things, and I've never sort of thought about it, and it wasn't until quite late on that I said it, and somebody went, "What did you just say?" And I was like, "A flange," and they were like, "Say it again," and I was like,
What's the problem
What's
here?
your problem?
Because you are innocent and lovely, Jane. Yeah.
I'm going to stick with that one.
But yeah, then Elizabeth, then the flange cropped up again in the burrito cushion. Yeah, it did. No, low, no. And yes, Elizabeth, don't Google anything Low says. Fiona's meant to be making zipper pouches. Oh, in your own time. And Claire says, oh, I've just started watching. So glad I did. It's absolutely stunning. Prefer the grey and pink. It's pouring with rain here in France. Hey, look, we've
pretty
all,
much
we've
pouring
all got
here.
our choices, haven't we?
Yeah. It's pretty much pouring with rain here too. It's eased off a little bit. It wasn't much fun this morning up the motorway with all the, because at the time I come, it's mostly lorries.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I was thinking, I hope the wind doesn't blow any of these lot over, because if it does, we've had it.
Yeah, do they?
Glenn says they're all right because they're loaded, they're fully loaded. It's only when they're empty that they're likely to blow over. And they usually don't go anywhere when they're empty. If there's high winds, they'll stay.
But my next question is, at some point, surely they're going to be unloaded.
Yes. And I think they wouldn't, in extreme high winds, they wouldn't venture anywhere when they're empty.
You reckon?
Yeah, not unless, if they know they're going to be going somewhere where the winds are, like over a bridge or anything.
My worry is, having driven 7.5 ton lorries on the motorway, I didn't realise that there's kind of grooves in the road.
Yeah.
Where the tyres go.
Get stuck.
And Kat said, listening to the flange conversation whilst editing flap instructions. Interesting times,
yes,
indeed.
Interesting.
Cass, it's all going on. It's all going on. Welcome to our world, basically. So going down the motorway when I had my smaller lorry,
yes,
that didn't quite sit in the same grooves, in the same lorry tracks, that would be a bit hairy, because if you came out of them,
yes,
I didn't
wobbly.
Enjoy that. Yeah, I did not enjoy that at all.
I have huge respect for lorry drivers because there's some motorists out there that are just crazy.
Yes.
And I see them all in the morning and I'm just like, oh my God. Who gave you a licence?
Madness, I tell you, madness.
Glenn likes to watch the police stop action and traffic cops and stuff like that, those programmes, and you watch those and then you go on the motorway and you're like, I wonder how many of these drivers have actually got licences, because of course on the traffic cops, they're always stopping people because they've got no licence or no insurance, and you're just like, oh my goodness.
I remember teaching at a school that was in special measures. I'd only just started teaching. I was not long out of drama school. I'd just finished my postgrad at drama school, and yeah, it was a tricky school. It was a very tricky school, like I say, inner city Coventry school, in special measures. And I remember saying to the kids, "Oh, where's so and so?" He was only 15. I said, "Oh, he's in court, miss." I was like, "What? What?" "Oh yeah, no, driving without a license."
Driving without a license?
No, it was driving without insurance.
Never mind the fact at 15 he got no licence.
And I went, he's 15, he doesn't have a licence, let alone insurance or anything else. And they went, oh, it's all right, his mum sent him out for fags. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, there's no hope, is there?
I had no words. It's not often that I'm rendered speechless, but at that point I was like, I don't know what to say to that.
Just give in on that one, yeah.
I actually don't know what to say to that. It was a bit of an education for me, actually, that school.
Yes, I can imagine. Because you had a grammar school education, didn't you? So I should imagine that there was nobody driving without a licence there.
Yeah, there was not. No. No. Oh, yeah, Sue says her favourite tantrum in the car is, where did you get your licence? Was it Toy Town?
I'm quite often heard going, oh, for goodness sake. It's when they pull in front of you and then put their brakes on.
Yeah, we love that. Margaret says, I remember crossing the old Severn Bridge in the mid-80s and being paired with a tanker fully loaded fairly low and told that we had to match speed all the way across, preferably 20 miles an hour. 10 minutes later, the BBC radio travel news said that the Severn Bridge was closed because of the high wind.
Oh my God.
First time ever.
Yeah,
You've got to love that.
That's an education, isn't it?
Yeah. Chad Valley licence. Right, Lo? Right. Oh, Lo ended up putting air suspension on their moho to stop the track wobble. How does that work? Margaret says, Sue, the proper reply is Legoland.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yes, Josh and Isaac got a licence from Legoland. They did the driving thing at Legoland and they give you a licence.
Well, I mean, let's not forget that Emily is the world's greatest driver.
But she is.
She is, yes.
The fact she can't reach the pedals.
Oh, semantics, Jane,
Yeah.
semantics. I still remember the very long half-hour drive home from school where she screamed the entire way
time. Yeah.
because I wouldn't let her drive. But Mummy, I am the best driver, the world's best driver. And actually, annoyingly, when we went to see Mum and Dad not long ago, they'd bought we were there with their other cousins, my brother's kids. And Dad had bought them all Escape Electrics.
Yeah.
And Emily is the youngest by a couple of years out of all of them, and she was indeed
The best driver.
the best driver.
Fabulous.
We were all giggling. We're like, don't tell her.
First
for
Formula
goodness
One
sake.
racer.
Don't
Brilliant.
tell her.
Female
Well, because
racer.
she didn't push it too hard. All the others were just pushing it too hard.
Yeah, and flying off the bends.
and
Yeah.
crashing into the skirting board. Whereas Emily was just going round and round and round and whooping everyone.
Yeah.
She,
Brilliant.
she really was
I
the
love
best
that girl.
driver.
I love that girl.
Oh, Elizabeth, that sounds horrible. She said that wind, this is on the bridge,
Yeah.
took her motorbike from under her. Very scary.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
not-
that would be
that's not a
terrifying.
situation. Oh, but Lo says that her air thingy does work brilliantly.
So again, we just then go, I've gone round joining those on, and then I'm going to go round and just join the seams, side seams. And again, I'm going from the outside in towards the sewn line. I just found it sat better that way.
Oh yeah, Claire's Adam is 4 and he wants to drive. She says we've had quite a few in-car tantrums about wanting to drive. I even tried getting one of those really annoying, like...
Oh, the steering wheel things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Isaac had one of those. Yeah, you soon switch it off. It's like, turn the sound off.
Yeah, it's got like 2 disco songs in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where my mum and dad live, it's a private road up to their house.
Yeah.
And my dad used to let the children sit on his knee
Yeah.
and steer
Mm-hmm.
up that lane. It's a straight road. It's not nothing. It's just a farm track. But they used to love that.
Yeah, no, of course. Of course. It's got to be done. See, I grew up driving lawn tractors and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you-
It's
although I
good,
remember-
isn't it? Because you
Yeah.
get a good sense of.
I remember the first time that my dad let my brother drive the lawn tractor, and it had a trailer full of logs on the back, and I was on top of all the logs in the
Yeah.
back, and Matt might have taken a corner a bit too quick, bent the whole,
All the
whole
logs
bit.
and you.
Yeah, all over the place. Oh, you got in trouble for that. Well, yeah, Elizabeth says, gone are the days you could sit on your dad's knee and steer. Well, we used to. I mean, we were brought up around farms and stuff, so we were always
Yeah.
doing all that
Out
kind
and
of
that,
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Julia says, morning all, just popped in to see what's occurring. Flaps and flanges. I mean, no change here, Julia, basically.
Yeah, you can rely on
It's
us,
all about the
Julia.
flap
It's
and
all the
flange.
flaps and flanges.
No electricity at the moment. So
Oh,
a quick look
no.
on the phone. How long's that been now, Julia? That's ridiculous.
Well, somebody was saying they just got their electricity back on, and then of course storm barrow starts and the electric goes off again, and you're just like, really? That's so mean.
In this day and age, you would think, wouldn't you?
And they'd made some excuse about it being the wind was from the wrong direction, and I'm just
The
like,
wrong
really?
sort of wind.
The wrong
I've
sort of
heard
wind?
it
You're
all
going to go
now.
there now?
Well, it's the wrong wind. Julie's got quite a lot of dogs though, isn't she? She should probably just throw another dog on the bed to warm up.
Keep warm with
Yeah.
the dogs. Just stick the dogs on top of you.
Oh, Cass just bought herself 40 acres. Can't wait to teach the Muppets how to drive the ride-on mower. You might need something more than just a ride-on mower for 40 acres,
Yeah,
Cass, if
I was
I'm
gonna
going to
say
be
tractor would be
entirely
more.
honest. I had to learn to drive a tractor when we were haymaking.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was very heavily pregnant driving an antique tractor.
That'd do you good.
Well, I was just like, do you know what?
Bring on the labour.
And it didn't.
No.
I was really hopeful. And the only things by that stage that fitted were basically my pyjamas.
Oh. Sitting in your pyjamas mowing. Brilliant.
Doing all the haymaking. Yeah, the sights you see, my grandma would say the sights you see when you haven't got a gun. All right,
Brilliant.
Grandma.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Claire's fence is wobbling alarmingly.
Oh dear.
Yeah. She said, I better get some posts against it. Be right back. Oh, Cass says there's no way that she's letting her firstborn loose on the tractor. That does suggest that you might let your secondborn.
Yeah.
Favourite.
It's funny how we really worried about the firstborn, and by the time the second one comes along, you're like, yeah, go on, whatever.
You're on your own.
Yeah. Off you
Survival of the fittest. off your chop. Go on. Oh, Sue said mine drove proper mini Land Rovers around an assault course when they were 6 at the dinosaur park.
Oh wow.
The keeper said he'd never seen such a young girl drive around like a stunt driver. She was quite remarkable. Where's that, Sue? I should take Captain Small.
Oh, she'd love that, wouldn't
Yeah.
she?
Margaret says her brother taught me. My brother taught me to change gears on Dad's car just before my 17th birthday. I don't have an older brother.
Oh.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
brother's a brother.
It's funny how boys learn to drive quite a bit earlier.
Elizabeth, naughty. My first job at 16 was working for an agricultural contractor. Refused to sign on. Loved to get the slurry spreading wrong when cars drove close to me.
Yeah. Oops.
Whoops. Yeah. It's got to be done. Got to be done.
Okay.
See, I always ride with a whip on the road, so that cars that pass too close.
Get a
If I
good whip.
can touch them with my whip, they pass me too close on
Yeah.
a horse. They'll get a little tap, just
Little
to
tap
remind
on
them.
there, yes, just
Yes.
to remind them.
Yes. Because it's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, whether you like horses on the road or not, there are very, very few bridle paths really now. So many have shut.
Yes, this is true, and
it's not that actually any of us want to ride on the road because it's awful, it's horrible.
yes,
but
and I think it's this common courtesy to other people, isn't it? It's just showing a bit of consideration
Yeah.
and just being kind, as they say.
Yeah, it is one of those things. And it's also, I think people don't realise that actually if the horse spooks, they're going to slide along the bonnet and go straight through their windscreen.
Yeah,
It's-
you're going to end up worse.
Yeah. So, you might want to be a little bit careful there.
Yeah.
Oh, Lo smashed up her knees at 17 banger racing. Of course you did, Lo. What else were you doing at 17? Don't answer
Don't ask
that.
that question.
Silly
No.
question.
But
I
reverse.
retract that question immediately. If not sooner. Oh dear me.
Yeah, so again, I'm just pressing the seams open on the silver
Mm-hmm.
at the sides, and then just tucking it up and bringing the cream one down towards the silver, because again, it seems to like to sit that way.
Yeah.
I'm quite often heard saying that, you know, you listen to your fabric because your fabric will tell you which way it wants to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it does.
Sue says if fuel
Amazingly.
carries on this way, we'll be back on horseback. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Inga and I were talking about that. We were saying how much easier it would be. But the thing is, everybody's got to do it, haven't they? You can't have just the odd few. You've got carriages, and it's certainly the
Yeah.
most environmentally friendly, I would think, horseback.
Yeah. I think Kai would have a bit of a shock.
Yes.
Oh, he's a good boy, but he's not fast.
A bigger, slower pace of life, and it would
Yeah.
be much easier, I
Elizabeth
think.
says, "Don't blame you for the whip. I love going really slow round round about a horse, so I can admire it. Drives people behind me mad. Do we care? No, of course we don't care.
No, we don't care.
No. Oh, morning, Ginny. No, of course we don't share. We don't share. We don't care. We do share. We share lots.
We
of
share
things.
lots
Yeah.
of things. But yeah. I'm certainly more appreciative of cyclists as well, since because Glenn does a lot of road cycling. Since he's been doing it, I'm more aware of cyclists on the road as well, and giving them a wide berth.
The thing is that once you start cycling on the road, I mean, I had an ex-boyfriend that was mad into his cycling, and he bought me a really nice road bike, and so then I felt obliged to actually ride the thing,
Yeah.
and it was horrendous because the state of
The roads are
you
yeah.
can't, yeah, and especially at the edges, you've got to cycle over. And I hadn't realised. I was someone that was like, get over the bottom.
Yeah.
But the roads, they're not in a very good shape. And if there are potholes or whatever, you don't really want to be cycling over them. So I do have more appreciation. But the first time that we went out on our bikes together,
It's
remember-
so scary.
well, yeah, and we got overtaken by a caravan, and it clipped Dunk because it just didn't pass wide enough.
No.
The car had gone past and the caravan was wider.
Yeah.
So at that point, I decided I didn't really like it.
So there you go. There's
This
your
is rather lovely.
machine pieced hexagon part.
Oh, Jane,
So then
Jane, look at that.
the fussy cutting part of for your grandmother's garden little flowers.
Beautiful.
Again, you can have really good fun because you can select parts of the pattern and see how they work together. I've chosen on this one, I've picked out the thistles. On this one, it's the centre of that part there. It gives sort of almost a tartany effect, which is quite interesting. And then again, as I say, I made a copy of the paper template onto template plastic.
Right.
And this time, again, just traced around that.
Mm-hmm. It just helps, doesn't it?
You
Template
can see
plastic
because
is really useful.
if you're doing your fussy cutting, it just makes it easy for you to see exactly where you're placing your fabric and where you're going to cut it. Now, for the paper piecing, aim for a generous 1/4 inch seam. Don't be too mean with your fabric. You've got plenty of fabric here to have a play with. So just, I'd even go sort of 5/8. And you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be too straight because you're going to fold this over. You're either going to tack it down or use your fabric glue, which is easy enough to do. So take your fabric glue pen, just a dab on one side, which holds it in place while you line that up.
And we've
Where
got
your pencils mark,
All
yeah.
of these are on the website. I'm sure that Gemma will have popped
I
them where
think
they need to be.
she's copied them all in.
Yeah, she's good like that.
A little dab of glue on your paper, a little dab on the fabric. Just pull it across the papers so it's nice and tight. Again, and just working your way around. Little dab on the fabric, a little dab on the papers, and just using your fingers just to push it in and slide it over. You can, of course, tack these, and there's two methods of tacking. You can either just tack through the fabric, or you can tack through the fabric and the paper. But the sew line glue pen just is such a labour saver.
It's a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
and
really is.
we've got the refills if you've already got a sew line glue pen and you've like used it all. And they're so easy to change. You literally roll them up as far as they'll go, and that part just pops off, and then the refill pops on, and you screw it down. They're so easy to change, and they really are a game changer when it comes to particularly your English paper piecing, but for holding your fabric onto anything.
I use them to prep zips and stuff as well.
Yeah,
you can
they
do
just
that.
hold everything on, and of course it's washable. So once you've done what you need to do with it, once it's been washed, any residue of glue disappears.
Yeah,
and it dries clear.
it does. And
I think that's the nice thing about it, is because it's coloured, you can see where it is for placement, but then it disappears and dries clear. So it's, again,
and
it's
that's when
lovely.
you know that it's dry. Sue says she thinks the dinosaur park was somewhere in South Wales.
Oh, right.
Might have to investigate that. I've got to go to Wales at some point.
So sewing your English paper piecing together, take a piece of thread, neutral coloured thread I think is best. Don't have a piece of thread that's much longer than from your tip of your finger to your elbow, because it will just tangle. Thread your needle from the end that came off the thread.
Oh, that's what I can never remember, Jane.
Yeah.
If you've got a way to remember that or not?
No, I just know it.
You just know it.
As it comes off is how I think of it. It's just the end that
But
you
just
took,
the
the
end.
first end, yeah,
Okay.
not the cut end. So I'm
'Cause
using.
that's why I get twisted, because I do it from the other
Yes,
end.
and that's why it twists, because it's wound. It's thread is spun anyway,
Yeah.
and then it's wound onto it. So if you're going against the way it's wound, it will
It's
tangle
always,
itself.
yeah, and it does, and you're right. But you see, for me, because I'll often thread it and then decide how much I want and cut it. So that's
Yes.
why I get myself in that bit of a tangle.
But if you like to do that, if you put your needle on first,
Slide it all the way down.
and then I've got a friend who hand quilts, and she just gets her reel of hand quilting thread. Thread's all about 6 needles on, and then she'll just take the bit take one needle and cut a bit there and snip it off, and then the needle's still on there, and so it saves like rethreading.
Oh well,
lots of
that's
times.
clever.
So again, you can have a play with your fussy cutting as to how you want to lay them out. And again, place them on your mat and have a look at them and see how you want them to be. You can have fun matching the patterns, creating a different effect.
Fabulous.
All sorts of things that you may not have necessarily seen in the first instance.
Yeah.
Like if I turn it that way, you also get this secondary pattern with
Oh, nice. Yeah.
with the little vine there going on. And then English paper piecing, when you've got papers in, I don't start with a knot. Can we go close up against the machine for this?
Always.
Do a whip stitch.
I don't know about you, but is it not
It's
crossed
not come
over?
close up.
Sorry,
It's
Jane.
okay.
Sorry.
If I can I'll try and do it sort of sideways, upside down. I take it, I don't go right into the corner point there, I just start a little bit away, and you can feel with your needle. I'm using a number 9 embroidery needle. That's my favourite size. It's got quite a good size eye, and it's not too long. I know some people like to use the milliner's needles, which are quite long, but they're nice and thin. And I'll pull it, and I'll leave an end, just about 1/4 inch hot, not more than 1/4 inch really. And then I go back towards the corner and do a stitch. Pull it through. And then I'll go on the other side so that the loop of the thread then catches that tail. You probably can't, it's pulled it out now. Do it again. This is what happens.
It always happens when you're trying to do it at a funny angle. I feel your pain, Jane. I feel your pain.
and then go the other side, and it'll go, the loop of the thread goes around that tail, and it'll pull it flat into your seam. So that then when you do your next few whip stitches, so when you do a whip stitch, you go at an angle at the top, but you actually, when you go down between the two fabrics, you go straight.
Yeah.
So you get like a straight line on the other side. I was told by an award-winning patchworker, Barbara Cheney, that actually judges, when you're doing hand English paper piecing, judges do expect to see stitches on the front of your work.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Yeah. Because I've seen threads where people are really worried because they can see the stitching, and it's like, actually, I think it's a given that you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, you try and keep your stitches as consistent and as small as possible, but don't fret that you can see them. And what I do, once I've done the one side, so I'm attaching one of my petals to the centre, and the centre is the bumbleberry fabric on the grey. Once I've got the centre one done, I will put the next one on, and I will attach the side seam, purely just to save stopping and starting. So I'm sort of sewing an L each time. So I've got that one on to the middle, and I will take the next one that I'm going to put on like that, and so I will then join the two grey ones together. So I'm doing the side seam.
Perfect.
And then when I get to the top, and I'll just do this quickly, I'll do quite biggish stitches. You don't have to do minuscule stitches, but you want to keep them quite close together just to hold them. When I get to the end, I will sew several stitches sort of on the spot.
Yeah.
When I get to the corner, I'll just do one more stitch and then I'll get to the corner. And again, I'm not going right onto the corner, I'm just going a little bit before. So I'll do one stitch there, that's my last stitch, and then I'll go over that stitch again. And then once more, and then once I've got the loop of the stitch, and you can feel with your needle, you can feel where the paper is against the fabric. I'll just go into that loop once, and then do it again. And then I just take the needle into the seam. So just run it across underneath.
Right, yeah.
Bring it out. And then snip that off. And so then the next one I'll do that seam there, and then I'll attach the one on the side. And it just means that it gives you a longer length of thread rather than going all the way round attaching the middle one to the middle and then having to do little seams at the side. So you'll carry on and you'll make 6 of those in different ways, different fabric patterns. So you'll have your flower. So for the stems, you need to cut the fabric on the bias.
It does look lovely though, doesn't it? The way it meanders around.
Yeah, it is beautiful. So you're going to, you've got your fat 8 there. So to cut on the bias, put my ruler somewhere, here we are. You've got your 45-degree line on your ruler, but you'll probably want the longer one. And I'll put that underneath here safely. There we are.
Jeanette says, can you hand piece it from Australia? Lo says you're going to need long arms. That was quite the question.
I don't think that's what she meant.
Sue says, is there nothing Jane can't do with fabric and thread? But you can hand piece, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
of course you can. You can do this bit by hand, definitely. And you don't have to do it over papers. You can hand sew it without papers in if you know how to do that. So I'm just going to check on the instructions there because I just couldn't remember for a second how wide. 6 inch long by 5 5/8 of an inch wide. yeah, cut at 5/8 of an inch. So you do your first cut, so 45-degree line on your ruler along the bottom of your fabric. That's your first cut. That gives you your 45-degree line. Then you're going to measure 5/8 of an inch. Now 5/8 is 1/8 past your 1/2 inch mark. So you've got your 1/2 inch there, and then it's 1 inch past that.
Perfect. Janet says, "Good morning, Natasha and Jane. This is truly beautiful. What a lovely demonstration. Thank you." Well, it's our absolute pleasure. Jane has been stitchy-witching away on this gorgeous Lisa Chandler design. So we've got the kits for you, and this is a nice mixture of machine sewing, or if you want to hand piece it all. It's going to keep your attention, isn't it?
I was going to say, this is going to be a lovely project to have in that quiet time between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
You know, when you've got those days when you don't even know what the day is, never mind anything else. And you're a bit
is that
sort
just
of
between Christmas and New Year? Just
well, at the moment, I don't think any of us know what the day is, do we? So it's like, what day is it?
Oh.
And so you'll need these sort of 6 inches long. Well, what I did was I just went with the width of the ruler and just cut them at the width of the ruler 6.5. So you just got an extra bit there. And you're going to make these into like bias tape. So you need to fold them in. Now you can get bias tape makers that are lovely to use. And basically what you're doing is you're folding the two edges into the middle. I don't know if we can see that. I need to move that up a little bit. So the two edges into the middle there. Now, if you don't have a bias tape maker, you can use the pin method. And once you've got those two edges in, particularly if you've got a wool mat like these, you can take a pin over into the mat, like so. So it just holds that flat. Okay. You might want to do it twice, just to and this is where these wool mats come in brilliantly. You can do it on your ironing board as well.
It's just not quite the same because it's a bit more springier, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm doing I should have done it the other way. In fact, I will, because it'll show you, because I work the other way. Let's do it again. So I've got it this side. I've just got that first bit folded over, so I know that it's into the middle. It is quite a tiny strip, but it's worth doing it because it gives you such a lovely finish, and because it's on the bias you can get that lovely little curve going on with it. So like that, and then you get hold of it and you just, with your iron, and then leave your iron there and keep pulling the thread. Sometimes you have to stop and just rearrange it.
Yeah.
Of course, when I did this at home, it did it first time, no messing.
I have a box full of bias binder makers.
Do you?
Yeah.
I didn't know if we got them.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we got them.
Yeah, I could have found it for you.
I've got them at home as well.
Yeah, actually, it might.
But I know
be at
this
home.
method it works.
It works. It just takes a moment, doesn't it? And that's all good.
And it'll keep it. You have to be careful not to stretch it, obviously, so it is really just keeping your iron on it and just gently pulling it through. It's not going to do it because we're live. When I did it at home, practicing, it went straight first time.
Of course. Of course. That's the trouble, isn't it? Once it starts.
Yeah, that's it.
And you're like, oh. So yesterday, Jane, I had a little Zoom call.
Did you?
Yes. With our favourite French designer.
Oh,
Yep. With a translator.
lovely.
Because my French is dreadful, as we all know. And we have pre-recorded the first of our Christmas shows.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, I shall look forward to watching that.
So it was really lovely. Odile was just gorgeous. Julia was fabulous and very generous with her translation skills. And it was all very lovely. So for those of you that have bought this week some of Odile's fabrics, her velvets, whatever it is that you have treated yourself to, yeah, there's
That's
more
going to be a real treat, and I think she's got some more designs going, hasn't she?
Yeah. And
So-
it was really nice because she said, oh, she really enjoys working with us here. And every time that she speaks to us, she goes away all enthused.
Oh, that's
ready to-
lovely.
Ready to make more lovely things.
How nice.
We like that. We like enthusing people. It's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. So what I did was I placed my flowers.
Mm.
Obviously, you're going to make all 6.
Mm.
Excuse me. Oh, that's what I did. When I took the papers out,
Oh, right, yeah.
after I'd done it, I just tacked. Let me go close up.
Yes.
I just tacked around that seam there, the fold over there, just to hold it flat and give it a good press with the iron. There's still a little bit of residual glue on there after I've taken the papers out,
Mm-hmm.
and that held it down as well. But just gave it a tack around just to hold it so that it keeps its shape.
Do you know what I find really helps? What I do before I take the papers out,
Yeah.
I give it a spritz with some flatter or
Yes.
some starch, and then give it a real good press. And I
Yeah.
found that
It really does help.
helps.
So
Oh, that's beautiful, Jane.
place those where you want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I just popped a pin in the middle just to hold them, because then you take your bias strip
Mm-hmm.
and you tuck that underneath your flower, and then you meander it as you'd like it to be before you sew it on. So, and just popped a pin in just to hold it down, and then took it over to there. So you can see by cutting it the width of the ruler, I've got plenty there to play with. And once you've got it into position as you want it to be, you might
Beautiful.
want to bring it up a bit there. Because it's bias, you can do a lovely curve on it. So I would still leave a good section underneath, but I can trim that off there now,
Yeah.
just so that it sits under.
Yep.
And then you applique it on. Now, applique stitch, again, I favour my number 9 embroidery. I don't know that we're going to be able to get this on a close-up, so I'll just try and explain it on camera. You take your needle and you bring it from the back up just against where your fabric is that you're holding on to your other piece of fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And you just want to take, again, it's like a straight stitch. So where it comes up on the backing fabric, you then go down and just catch into what is the fold, really,
Yeah.
of the other fabric. And then you go along at an angle and come up in the backing fabric. Just a little way along. And it just, you tangle it up in your pins and you
Oh,
swear
yes.
at it quite a bit.
You can base those in place with your
Yes, you can
sew-line
use-
glue pen.
So your sew line glue pen would hold them. So you take it into the fabric you're appliquing and go along into the backing fabric. So it's sort of, if I get a pencil, I'll show you on here. On the front you've got a straight stitch, a very tiny straight stitch, but on the back it looks like that underneath, because that's your straight stitch on the front.
Right. Do you want to go on a close-up so we can see that?
Yeah, so you're taking a little stitch at the front, but on the back, it's the stitch at the back is at an angle because the little stitch
Yeah.
is straight at the front.
Got it.
And it's
Okay.
sort of like, almost like nibbling
Yes.
at the fabric, and it's just enough. It's literally a thread, but it's almost invisible,
We like that.
and it just takes a time, and it's really quite relaxing doing it, holding it down. I find it easier to work with it flat to do this.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I don't know why, and I think it's because I get a bit worried about it puckering, but you can hold it
Yeah,
up
I do.
and do it like that. And of course, if you've basted it with your glue stick, it's not going to go anywhere anyway. But again, you can
Lo
do it.
says, how about steamer seam it on and then not
Well,
sew it
yeah,
on?
you could do that.
You can
could do that.
absolutely.
There's
You
nothing
can.
to stop you. Because you can get, of course, you can get the tape, the tape that goes on the back of your own bias as well.
Oh, that you. Oh,
You know,
silver bias tape.
Yeah.
Would
Can you
look
imagine?
the adhesive like you do
Yeah.
with the stained glass windows?
But you know the tape that you use for the zips.
Yes.
You could use that.
Yes. All of these things. We can cheat with all these things.
Yeah.
It's great.
So
They're all there for us
there's
to use.
they're not cheats, are they? They're just gadgets to make your life easier.
Yes, absolutely.
Now I'm rummaging now to try and find. There it is.
Morning, Gail. Morning, Sabrina.
So your flowers, your 3D
Yes.
flowers. Natasha's shown you how to do these previously on your Baltimore quilt. You've got your template. Again, I cut it out of the template plastic just to make it easier to draw around. Do you add 1/4 inch? Can't remember now. Yes, add a generous 1/4 inch seam allowance around each one and cut out. Now to add a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you can do it with your ruler if you don't feel confident with, you know, guessworking your... So you can place the 1/4 inch of your ruler on the line that you've marked and just make a line, like a dotted line if you like, around your circle if you don't feel confident in guesstimating it. You could make yourself a template with a 1/4 inch bigger if you wanted to, but what I found was that it was quite nice having the marked line to follow, although you don't really follow it, but in my head I was following it. It's funny how we think, isn't it? So you've got the template that you've drawn around and then a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You'll take a piece of thread. Again, don't have it too long because it'll only tangle up or wear out. This is the other thing, it does wear as you're going in and out of your fabric. It will wear it out, particularly around the eye of the needle.
Yeah, of course.
Now I've put a knot in this, and actually what I would say to you is leave a longer knot. So take about 1.5 inches and then put your knot in. And I put one knot.
What is that, Jane? Why are you leaving?
I'm going to show you,
Okay.
because what you're going to do is you're going to, and I take it from the what would be the right side of the fabric. I bring it in.
Could you just move it across ever so slightly, because it's about exactly the same size as the logo.
Just there. So I'm going sort of 1/8 of an inch away from the cut edge, and then coming in so that the knot is on the right side of the fabric, and leaving that tail. Then do a gathering stitch, not too big, but you don't have to do it tiny, around the outside edge of this. Put my glasses on, it makes it so much easier if you can see what you're doing.
Now, come on. Elizabeth says this really shows off all the design in the fabric, parts that may otherwise be missed.
It does, it really does.
There, yeah.
And you find so many little details in Lisa's design, which is lovely, and you just think, oh, if I put those together, they'll come out beautifully. Make another pattern in another, you know.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Hey Jill, she's just joined us as well.
So just doing a gathering stitch around there, but trying to leave, I'm not pulling the gathers up at this point, just leaving it so it's still flat. Now, Lisa says to you to make a sandpaper circle, and I think that's what you've done previously, haven't you, in your Baltimore's?
And if you don't have that, then I would go with like a piece of cardboard off your
Yeah.
cereal pack and just put a tiny bit of your Soline glue on there just to hold it
Yeah.
as a template in place. All the sandpaper does, and it's not like a really rough sandpaper, it's a really, really fine one.
Yeah, it just holds it, grips it,
yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So what I actually did, because I was lazy and time constraints, I actually used my template, which did make it a little bit awkward getting it out, but I still managed it, obviously, because I made it.
Yeah, for that our flowers
So-
up there.
You would have a sandpaper disc, or like Natasha says, a cardboard disc, because it's a bit more flexible and easier to get out. And then you're going to pull those threads, and this is why I left that length, so you've got something to grab hold of. Make sure that the disc stays in, and as Natasha says, you could put a dab of glue on there and pull it in so that it sits within your drawn line.
Fabulous.
Now I find it's easier to do the thread over once and then do it over again, and that for me stops it coming unthreaded, coming undone. It sort of grips it while I then pull it to get it tight and then do my other tie over to make a knot.
I'm going to do that, Jane. That's very good. I like that a lot.
So that holds it. So then you take it to the iron, and of course the template plastic is okay with a hot iron.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not like...
Don't leave
No.
it sitting on top, but it won't. No harm will come to it while you just flatten the seams. And so then you take it, just slip the template out, and because you've pressed it, you've still got a good crease in there. So you fold it back over. Then I took another piece of thread and started, and then this is where you start gathering it around the fold.
Yeah, it's on that edge,
on
isn't
that
it?
on that edge. So I put I'm going to snip those threads off just so that they don't get in the way. So you take your thread, I've put a knot in the end of it. Again, you don't want it too long because it'll just tangle up. And you take it into the fold of the fabric there. And then you're doing a gather into that fold. And this time, as you're gathering it, you're pulling it up. So it pulls up as you're sewing. So you don't need to keep it flat, you just want to keep gathering it. There's so many lovely elements in this that really sort of develop your creativity and give you ideas for how you can use them on other things. It's really lovely.
There's so much, it's almost a two-show quilt, isn't it? There's so much in there, but it just Lisa's attention to detail, her knowledge.
This is it, and her ideas, her creativity are just so, she does come up with some lovely things.
She's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And really nice.
Yes,
as well.
lovely with it.
Yeah, you often come in at the end of a phone call, don't you?
Yeah, and say, hi Lisa. So you're pulling that up as you go, and it's making what we call a Suffolk Puff. The Americans call them yo-yos.
Lo says it's weird when looking at the finish when you don't notice everything. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a dissection, this, isn't it? And,
Yes.
and just really getting to appreciate all those tiny
All the elements that go to create the beautiful finished product. So again, not great big stitches, but not tiny ones either. You just want a nice even gather really. If you can keep your stitches as even as possible, it just draws up nice and even as well. Now you might want to do this gather in a thread that matches the Suffolk Puff, because at this point you want to make sure all those rough edges are tucked under and it's pulled up as tight as it can be. Now be careful.
Do you want to do this on a close-up, Jane?
Yeah, you can pull it too tight. Ask me how I know, and your thread breaks, which is really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I've also been there.
you can, if you want to, you can do stitches to hold the middle bit together, but I personally don't think you need to. But you've got this, which is a Suffolk Puff. So you take your thread into the middle where that hole is, and you bring it around, and you take it back over and back into the middle, and you give it a tug, and it pulls it in. And this is how it develops your little flower. And you'll do it again. And then you give it a bit of a gap, and you'll do it. It's sort of done by eye really, and you'll get an idea. The more, because you need to do 18 of these. So the more you do, you'll get more accustomed to the gap that you leave and make them more even. Mine started off pretty uneven to start with, and then by the time I got the hang of it, they were all pretty uniform, so it was quite nice. But as you can see, that's then forming the petal of the flower. So you do that round, and it 5 petals is what's recommended. And it's just 2 stitches going from the middle to the outside and then bringing it round. It's really clever how it works, and so pretty. And then you've got the one that comes just in the middle there of that, what's left over. And you can take your thread and just move it around a little bit if you feel that the one petal's a bit bigger than the other and you want to make it more even. It might be worth getting a scrap piece of fabric and practicing before you do the ones on your actual. You've got plenty of fabric, so you know you can practice with that first.
I think that if at all possible, it's nice to try these out for the first time live on air.
Yeah,
That
because it will,
that went horribly wrong for me.
Yeah. So you end up with something that looks like that. Now you can either sew it to your fabric that way with all the gathers there, but I actually liked it the other way, and I sewed mine on that way. And what I did was I fastened my thread off in the middle, but I left when I was doing them, I left that dangly bit, and I used that dangly bit then to actually sew them onto my background.
Perfect.
So I went through the back of the backing fabric and on. Now what I'm going to say to you is, actually, I didn't sew mine on at this point. I quilted mine first
and
then sewed them on, because I wanted to do a line around that echoed around the edge of here. So if I'd have put my flowers on first, I wouldn't have been able to get around the vine part.
Yeah.
So I quilted it, laid it up and quilted it normally like you would a quilt, and I literally just went around the outside edges of the cream, and then I echoed just slightly outside the flowers and the vine.
That's beautiful.
And then I added the 3D flowers on, and I bound it with the gum leaves fabric, and I cut the fabric on the bias just to help me get around this bit here.
Yeah.
Because it's not tricky, but you just need to manoeuvre it, and having it on the bias just gave me that little bit of stretch to pull it round.
Perfect.
So it was a lovely make.
You are very, very clever. You and Lisa are very, very clever.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's all down to Lisa, really. It's her
But
design.
you made it. But thank you, Jane. Thank you for demoing
It was lovely. It was a lovely make.
Beautifully, because that.
And I
has not
think
been a
that
quick
silver
make.
one is stunning, isn't it? That's going
Well,
to
they
look.
both are. I mean, look at this. So you've got the orange option there, or just a completely different feel.
It is a completely different feel.
You know, this would look beautiful in a bedroom, or you know, somewhere.
Absolutely, on dressing table.
Yeah.
It would look lovely, wouldn't it?
Gorgeous. But I could really see that on some dark wood. The orangey one.
Yes, yeah.
Would look gorgeous.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you choose. It's entirely up to you. Jane, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you
It's a
so
pleasure.
very, very much. We're going to do a little bit of filming later, aren't we?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Jane,
Not
it's
my
your favourite
favourite
part of
bit.
the year.
Yes, it is. It's nice to look back on what we've done and talk about what we're going to do in the future as well.
We are doing our Natasha Makes Roundup.
Yes.
A year in the life.
Yeah. And can you believe it? Coming up to our second birthday.
I know. Nuts, isn't it?
Our second birthday, she says. Your second birthday.
Well, it is our second
Yes.
birthday, Jane. You did the very first show.
Feel like it's part of me.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Lovely. That's what happens when you leave your iron on your template plastic.
Oh, it goes a bit wibbly wobbly.
It does.
Yeah.
It does pucker up. But for the process of doing the Suffolk punches, because you're just quickly doing it, it will keep fine.
No. Jane, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Remember the Half Metre Heavens go live tomorrow. Oh, actually, the little charm purse that we made yesterday goes beautifully with this.
It does rather,
doesn't it?
doesn't it? Look at that. Nice little gift.
Look. That works.
Yeah.
So we've still got a few of those charms as well.
I just think these are beautiful. I really do.
I think they're just nice giftables.
Yeah.
And it really didn't take very long to make.
No. It's lovely.
And you can stuff a gift voucher in there.
Yeah, make a lovely gift, wouldn't it? Because I quite often give my nieces and nephews money. I mean, I don't think my nephews would appreciate it, but I think my nieces would like that with the money. Because you don't feel like they've had a present when you give them money.
Yeah.
I usually buy them something else as well, just a little something, you know, a pair of socks or a lipstick or something, and wrap it up so they've got something to unwrap.
That would
they're
be
older.
gorgeous.
They're older. Nephews and nieces, you know. They're young adults, really.
Yeah, that's the one. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Jane, thank you so much for demoing. We will be back on Monday.
What you doing on Monday?
Absolutely no idea. My mind's gone completely blank.
It'll be something fabulous, as always.
Is it on Monday?
Getting closer to Christmas, aren't we?
Gosh, I can't, honestly, I can't even begin to remember.
No, it'll be something absolutely wonderful and
Well,
fabulous. As always. As always.
Let's see what I come up with, shall we?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Guys, thank you so much. We will see you on Monday when I may or may not have decided what I'm doing. Give us a wave, Jane. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.